Everything go alright. Okay, stupid phone corrupt. I like the fact my phone is saying I want you to go sideways when I don't. There you go. And hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of voyages. It is the DOUG here once again, and it's time for that everything we love to do. No, not make fun of the Baltimore Orioles. You know that's an easy job for everybody. It is time for the NFL Week 4 picks, brought to you by no one, because this channel is not sponsored by anything. It's like the NBA team on TNT. We're not sponsored by no one. But I am not alone, as we do have my, one of the pick partners in here tonight. Right now, it is my good buddy Dave, who probably wants to chew out the 49ers defense right now, which we'll get to that later. We also have my good buddy Giant Vibrator, who's a Bears fan. Granted, I think he wants to go to Chicago and choke out every freaking player and head coach after this past week's travesty of them actually trying to play a game called football. Whereas I think you said on Twitter, you're just going to...
that shit, I'm not watching football anymore.
Yeah, I have a train because you said on Twitter, fuck this, I'm going back, I'm getting ready for hockey season. But before we get to this week's picks, of course, we have to do our recap, notes, and of course the best and worst. So let's go over what happened in week number 3. Back McCaffrey for a few weeks. Ravens somehow, thanks to the football gods, beat the Lions, proving that the Lions are cursed. Bills destroyed Washington. Browns beat the Bears because Bears don't know how to quarterback. Titans pretty much destroyed the Colts. And probably one of the biggest shockers of week 3, the Chargers beat the Chiefs. Pats got obliterated and annihilated by the Saints. Giants couldn't do the one thing that is so easy, it's easier than doing first grade math. They couldn't beat the Falcons as they lost to Atlanta. Congratulations, New York. You've lost to the worst team in the NFL. Bengals got my upset pick of the week right again as they beat the Steelers, which I don't know if that's an accomplishment at this point. Cardinals beat the Jaguars in what was actually an interesting game. Broncos defeated the Chiefs, becoming probably the worst 3-0 team in the league. We'll get to why that in a minute. Raiders barely get by the Dolphins in overtime. Correct. Rams shock everyone else, though, as they beat the Buccaneers. Seahawks can't find an offense to beat Kirk Cousins' defense. Thank you, fucking Seattle, you bastards. 49ers defense implodes in the last 35 seconds against the Packers. And the Cowboys pretty much obliterated the Eagles on Monday Night Football to the point where the only thing that is remembered is Eli Manning saying my hips don't lie and him giving the Stone Cold salute. So, for the season, well, for the week, I went 11-5, and for the season, I am 28-20. Dave, how did you do this past week? So I'm barely ahead of you. Of course, let's talk about some games that I think we need to discuss real quick. I'm not gonna discuss Panthers and Jags because I already said what the big news of that was. McCaffrey's out for a few weeks, due to injury. Ravens and Lions. Lions, you got screwed because this should have been a delay of game called on Baltimore, which would have ended the game because it was an offensive penalty. Would have been, I think they would have ran the clock for 10 seconds. Game would have been over, but refs missed it. So Baltimore gets lucked out, I guess you could say, and Justin Tucker sets a record for a 66-yard kick, which, congratulations to him, proves that he's probably the best kicker of this generation. He's probably going to be a Hall of Famer because he's been so automatic, but you gotta feel a little bit sad for Detroit because this is technically the second game within the last 3 weeks they've been screwed out of, in the sense because they probably should have beat the Niners because of how bad the Niners played in that fourth quarter, but again, the football gods bailed out the Niners in that game. Football gods bailed out the Ravens in this one. Going to Chicago real quick, because I got to discuss this. What the fuck is up with the Bears quarterback situation? We do not even know right now. Because I looked at it this morning, and I looked at it before we're doing the picks. They are not announced who their quarterback's going to be this Sunday. And by the way, they play the Lions, so it's kind of poetic, I would presume, that we're just saying it here. because he is the backup because we don't know who's starting. And I'm going to say this because I actually went to watch the highlights of that game for Chicago. I said it a few weeks ago, and I told people this. Justin Fields is not ready. He's not in a situation to where it's like Jacksonville or the Jets or the Patriots to where the rookie has to start. You had a chance to let him be molded a bit because, you know, you had Andy Dalton, who is a veteran. You had Nick Foles, who's a veteran backup. They could mold him. But you decided to put him ahead of Nick Foles, and then when Andy Dalton got hurt, you put him in. And even if you remember during the preseason, the coach said we don't want to rush Justin Fields in. After seeing what he's done in 2 games, I think it's time to put Justin Fields back in the oven because he needs to cook some more. Personally. So I will say this: I think the Lions-Bears game, when we get to it, it's going to be the definition of tank bowl because Bears only have 1 win. Lions are 0-3. Somebody's got to win this one. Another game I want to discuss real quick: Chiefs and Chargers. Chargers, congratulations! You actually did something a lot of people didn't have happening. You beat the Chiefs. Andy Reid, I'm glad you're okay because you did get released out of the hospital. I think that's what Kansas City's more worried about right now, though, because of Andy Reid is old and his health. But Chiefs fans, I wouldn't worry too much. Yeah, you're at the bottom of your division, but you're such a good team. I don't think being bad this early, being 1-2, is going to hurt you down the road because you got the veteran experience to turn it around. Unlike the Chargers, who are still a young team. I mean, I applaud them. I think if they keep this up, they could be a playoff team, but I think they're still young. They still need a little bit more seasoning. But I will say congratulations to the Chargers because you almost blew that game a few times because when you missed that 1-point kick, I'm like, well, that's going to do it. Kansas City's going to go storm down the field, get a touchdown, make the 1-point kick, and get out. But your defense played well. Your defense did its job, and Mahomes threw some interceptions there to cost you. Falcons and Giants. Giants, what the fuck? I'm going to say this. The only player who's actually trying for the Giants is the quarterback. Everyone else should be fired. Now, I know Barkley hasn't been playing well since he's returned from injury. Giants are missing a few injuries, have a few more people out as well, which we'll get to in a minute. But, man, it is just not a good time to be a Giants fan. And now, if you're a Cowboys, Eagles, or Washington, you're enjoying the hell out of this. And lastly, you know what? We're going to go to Dave for this because it involves his 49ers. So, Dave, rip the 49ers here because I can't do it justice. That's why we went to him. I think you just described Roman Reigns' bedroom, so... by the way, we do have the man who represents the Indianapolis Colts with us now, Mr. Jones from MIB headquarters. Oh, yeah, well, we're still recapping week 3, so you didn't miss much. Now, before we get to the injuries report for this week, it's time to hand out our 3 awards for this week. Now, of course, we're not doing the one-hit wonder because there really wasn't a lot of one-hit wonders I could say, but we did come up with a new award. How can I say this? The You Failed Elementary School Award, because in better words, you lost the easiest game you probably had on your schedule. I think we all know who that may be going to for this week, but... Well, we may as well start with that award. The Elementary School Loser Award goes to the Giants because you lost to the fucking Atlanta Falcons. I'm sorry. That's pathetic. I'm sorry, New York. It's pretty sad when Buffalo is the reigning... Well, Buffalo's actually a good team. It's pretty sad you can't even beat Atlanta, who Matt Ryan's not playing like he used to. They're still having ghost nightmares of fucking Patriots making a comeback. So yeah, you get the stupid elementary award. As first for the worst team this week of week 3. You know, there's a lot of choices I could go with this. I try not to make it duplicate, so that's why it kind of makes it difficult. So for the worst team of this week, I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles, actually, because they didn't look like to be in the game at all. Excluding the one fumble Dak had in the end zone, Philadelphia didn't look like they were in it at all. Yeah, I'm skipping that because that really didn't play into effect. I think it should have been a touchdown, kind of, because he did break the plan, but again, like I told people, it's depending when the whistle blew, and unfortunately, we don't know when the whistle blew. That's the problem. But Eagles will get my worst team of the week, and I know everyone's going to say, oh, he's going to give Dallas the best team of the week because of how many points they scored. I'm actually not giving the Cowboys the best team of the week. I am not. I am actually giving the best team of the week to the Los Angeles Chargers and the Los Angeles Rams. We have a tie because both of them did something that a lot of people did not think could happen. The Chargers beat the Chiefs, and the Rams soundly beat the Buccaneers. So both of them, to me, deserve to be the best team of the week. I cannot decide which one's better from who they've played, so I'm giving it to both of them this week in my eyes. Mr. Jones, who is your best, worst, and dumbass of the week? Okay, I can respect that. Wow. You are that mad they gave Aaron Rodgers 35 seconds and the defense did nothing. Holy shit. You beat Patrick Mahomes. Yes. Now, before we continue to the injury report, Mr. Jones, how did you do in week 3, and how are you doing for the season? Okay, because I'm 28-20, and Dave's right behind me at 27-21, so well, pretty much it's a very close race this year. No one's been able to get that big extended lead yet. Give me a hooker instead. I got 28-20 wins for the 28-20 for the season. Dave is 27-21. And you would have 22 losses, yeah. So, well, pretty much it's like, it's very close. It's like not a lot of margin of error. No one's got that big lead like I had last year where I had like a 10-game lead on one person. But, alright. Time for what we all hate here, the injury report. And, of course, we need to discuss probably one of the bigger ones that affects the Sunday's games. And that is the Carolina Panthers, as they will be out with the running back McCall. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, you know who I'm trying to say, as he will be out this week, so it does play a little bit into the point spread, because Vegas kind of has it changed a bit since that was announced, but we'll get to that later. Also, bad news for the Jets. Jets franchise tag safety Marcus May is out about 3 to 4 weeks with an ankle injury. He is the top performer on their defense, now heads to the sideline. In better words, the Jets are getting worse. Also, after further medical opinions and seeing more doctors this week, Patriots running back James White's hip injury is expected to end his season this year. So there is that. And also, going back to the Jets, Jets wide receiver Jeff Smith not at practice today, as he was in a car crash heading to the facility this morning. He will be on the injury report later today with details of what he's dealing with. So in better words, first, may he have a speedy recovery because car accidents suck. Second, I don't think we're going to be seeing him play this weekend. Just call that a hunch. Ravens have activated some people off the COVID list today. Brandon Williams, Justin M., and Justin Houston to help them on their thing. And also, the Titans are in trouble as they could be without their top 2 wide receivers this Sunday. Wide receiver Julio Jones is getting treatment on a leg injury, and his status versus the Jets is up in the air. Also, A.J. Brown may also miss a week or 2 with a hamstring injury, so the Jets may have a chance. Maybe. We'll discuss. Let's see. Moving on to some other news. The Lions released inside linebacker James Collins. Of course, we've been talking about this the last few days on my other streams. Wide receiver Josh Gordon has re-signed with the Chiefs after he's been reinstated, so that would be interesting for him there as that. Also, Cardinals are signing cornerback Antonio Hamilton to their active roster per his agent. And this is probably not going to surprise anybody. Richard Sherman is back in the NFL as he has signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So the Buccaneers just keep getting better. Fuck. Yeah, with Brady, which I can't wait to get to I can't wait to get to the Buccaneers Patriots game for Mr. Jones. He's gonna be like, "Oh, fuck you, Doug. I don't want to make a pick." Let's see. We have a comment real quick. Firebirder says, "I just gotta say, congrats to the Bears for having such a shit game that I won't be watching any more football or even paying attention to the score." I can respect that. I mean, I'm sure that's what Detroit's feeling. Just to give a quick also a few other things that have popped up on my radar before we started, because we like to give everyone a quick pro. Shanahan for the 49ers says there will be no quarterback battle for the 49ers, who are 2-1. They are still leaving Jimmy Garoppolo in as the starter. Raiders McCoy on IR violates substance policy abuse. Dolphins Fuller chest elbow sits out of practice to see if he starts this week is up in the air. And Panthers to start running back Hubbard stick with the plan of trying to go through Sam Darnold, who's played well. So it just goes to show, just get away from geese and you actually succeed in life. But let's get to the first game, which is, of course, this tomorrow night on the NFL Network. It is the 0-3 Jaguars, so I think they're personally trying to kill the young career of a certain quarterback from Clemson and Trevor Lawrence, taking on the surprisingly division-leading 2-1 Cincinnati Bengals. That is right, the Bengals lead their division due to beating the Steelers, actually, this past week. Of course, this is kind of a rivalry game for the quarterbacks since Joe Burrow, LSU, Trevor Lawrence, Clemson. Currently, right now, the point spread is Cincinnati wins this game by 7.5 points. Now, if you're new to this channel, you're probably not going to expect me to... You may not know the history of the Bengals and me. Last year, the Bengals kind of disappointed me a lot when I picked them to win, but this year they've been pretty well for me. I've been 2-1 with them, and both of the wins have been my upset pick. Of course, the game is in WKRP, Cincinnati. Now, Jacksonville, I'm going to say this. The one nice thing you've done this year was return that failed field goal by the Cardinals, 106 yards for a touchdown. But because you're Jacksonville, you still found a way to blow the game. So I'm going to take Cincinnati at home here. This is probably the definition of a trap game because it's a short week, but does anyone really think Jacksonville's going to turn it the fuck around at this point? But give me the Bengals. Okay, Dave, since you said maybe, are you taking Jacksonville tomorrow night? He says they might, but then he's like, oh, nope. Mr. Jones, you live in Ohio, so I'm sure the Cincinnati and Cleveland fans are probably going crazy right now. Uh-oh, did we lose Mr. Jones? I don't hear him. Mr. Jones, can you hear me? Over. The little alien cockroach. Oh, there we go. We can hear you. Yes. Yes, we can. Okay. 3 for Cincinnati. I don't... Okay. See, I didn't know that. Thank you for telling me. So we all agree in Cincinnati. Now, I will say this. I think we've agreed on all the Thursday night games, haven't we? We haven't... Well, okay, excluding week 1. No, wait, we don't... No, we all took Dallas, didn't we? Yeah. Yeah, we did because... So we've... Yeah, we all agreed because we all took Washington in week 2. Oh, I think we did. We took the Giants. So this is the 3rd time now, then, out of the first 4 Thursday night games, we've all agreed. Jacksonville, if you win, you're welcome. Moving... Nah, Jacksonville ain't winning, folks. Don't even bother watching the game. I'm actually going to be watching the college game, which I'll tell you what that is later. Moving on to the Sunday games... enjoy Venom. It will be the Tennessee Titans on the road against the 0-3 Jets. Tennessee is favored by 7.5 points. As a quarterback, granted, it's not all his fault, but the Jets are just terrible. As Charles Barkley would say, they're just terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Give me the Titans here. I can't even say anything nice about the Jets, okay? Okay, I'll say one nice thing about the Jets, because I had to try to be a better person in life. They got good colors for their team. But give me the Titans. Well, it's green and white. 2 for the Titans. Mr. Jones? Yeah. Just so we have video proof. I know, but we can't... Oh God! I'll tell you. You know, I'm going to add to that. If the Jets win, that I see them winning if we curse ourselves. But we'll go. Oh God, Frazzarack. We're going over. Okay. Now for the next game, and I will say this. Then this is the problem I had with making my picks for a lot of the Sunday games. Either a lot of them were too close to call, or were so easy there was really no. I had a hard time trying to build up a good excitement thing like Titans and Jets, for example. But moving on to the next game, it is the Kansas City Chiefs on the road against Philadelphia. Both teams coming off a loss. The Eagles got obliterated. Kansas City now does have a new weapon though in Josh Gordon. We don't know if he's going to be playing this week. Kansas City is favored by... Let's hope he stays off the weed. Now, Chiefs are favored by 7 points, which seems to be a little bit too high in my opinion because of how bad the Chiefs have been this year. They've been up and down. But I'm going to go with Kansas City because I'm sorry. The Eagles offensively and defensively do not look like a good team. And I'm sure it's going to be like, oh, but they have a win. You beat Atlanta. I don't want to hear that you'll win. That's your most credible thing. That's the only thing you can say. You beat Atlanta. The Giants couldn't beat Atlanta, so I don't want to hear it. Give me Kansas City. Yeah, I think the Chiefs might be having some eagle for dinner. I have a feeling if Mr. Jones sweeps this. Mr. Jones? Early Thanksgiving dinner. Moving on, and this one might be the first one we have a disagreement on, I think. Maybe. It is the Carolina Panthers on the road against the Cowboys. Now, Dallas is favored here by 4.5 points right now, which I think that's a little bit to do with a few things. Sam Darnold, this will be his first tour test because he doesn't have that reliability blanket of his, the running back, to help him. And the Panthers dealing with injuries. Plus, the Dallas defense has looked good, surprisingly, this year. Granted, the question is it because they're actually that good, or is it because of who they've played? Remember, defensively they played well against Tampa and the Chargers, and they pretty much beat the Philadelphia Eagles into the ground, but it is Philadelphia. And offensively, though, the Cowboys have been playing well. Dax in MVP talks, Zeke and Pollard, the 1-2 punch, has actually been working offensively this year. And we actually been having our star tight ends and receivers working well. So, but this is a real test for Dallas as well because this is actually the second real team that you're playing against because Carolina's been pretty well. Now, of course, Carolina, you could say maybe it's who they've played, but we know who I'm taking anyway. Give me the Cowboys at home. If they win, I think I might be scaring my next door neighbor again. I had a feeling you were going to be taking the Panthers, so I knew we weren't going to agree forever. So, Mr. Jones, that leaves you then. Are you going to take Carolina or Dallas? You are the tiebreaker here. Yeah, I'm honestly, if I wasn't a fan of the Cowboys, I'd probably would say leaning towards the Panthers because defensively they're the better team. But I just gotta hope Dak plays better than Sam Darnold, which should be easy, hopefully. Yeah, but I will say this with Dallas, and because last year Dallas was the worst defensive team. They have improved this year, which Stephen A. Smith even hated admitting, which I loved. I wish I could have recorded that and have it be played at my funeral when he has. That's the question because if you count the okay, week one they gave up 30 something, but then in week two Dallas gave up 17, and then they gave up 14. Correct. Correct. Now, I will say with the appearances, and this is why I think a lot of other people are saying that it's a tough call for this game. They all 3-0, which is impressive, but if you look at who they beat the Jets in week one. Week two, they beat the Saints, which was the real dominant one, remember, 26-7. And then they beat a Houston team who was using a backup. So a lot of people don't trust the Panthers either to say that they are legit because of who they play. Granted, it's like people got to remember, you play to win the game. Records, it doesn't matter what the record is because if they lose to a bad team, everybody's going to make fun of them. But if you beat a bad team, everybody's like, oh, they was a bad team. So unless, you're the fucking Giants. Fair enough. Well, since I think we got off the love, we can get off my love of the Cowboys now. We're going to move on. Okay, this game, I'm going to be honest here. This was my easiest pick because after how they played against Atlanta, I have no faith in them to win any games at this point right now. It is the New York Giants on the road against the Saints. Giants, the only good thing you have going is you got a quarterback who's actually playing well. He's been playing good. The problem is the rest of the pieces around him suck. I hate saying it, but it's true. But Barkley hasn't been playing well since he's come back from injury. You did lose another key weapon on the. I think you have a few people actually got hurt in the game against Atlanta. So now your depth chart's even worse than what it already was to begin with. So I'm sorry. Normally, I kind of would make this my lock, but I decided to go with a different lock when we get to that game. I think we'll know why. But give me the Saints to win at home. By the way, the Saints are favored by 7.5 points. It should be higher. It should be 100. I was gonna. I'm gonna even say this. Even my buddy Dark Knight, even he's picking against the Giants this week. Then they let me down in game 3, so you know what that means? They'll fucking win probably. And then we're all gonna be like, motherfuckers. Moving on. Well, I think anybody who knows me knows I'm probably picking in this game, but of course I had to try to be nice. It is the 2-1 Cleveland Browns on the road against the 1-2 Vikings. Cleveland's favored by 2 points. Guess what, Minnesota? You proved the old saying, a broken watch is right twice a day, because you actually did something intelligent. You won a game. You made Seattle's defense made Kirk Cousins look like a 5-star quarterback. Whoop fucking E. I'm sorry. If you think I'm picking Minnesota, where have you been the last 3 videos? They finally won a game, yeah. Fuck you, Kirk Cousins. You're still a piece of shit. I think Baron Corbin's a better quarterback than you. I think Firebird is a better quarterback. I think my grandmother's a better quarterback. I think Bill Clinton's a better quarterback. I think Bill Nye the Science Guy's a better quarterback. And I don't even think he knows what a football is. And I think you're going this. Give me Cleveland. Fuck you, Minnesota. And I can't wait for the day Kirk Cousins gets fired. Yeah, you did. More than Kirk Cousins. I'll put it like this before Mr. Jones makes his pick. I would rather play Superman 64 than give Kirk Cousins a compliment. Roman. I would rather pick Roman over Kirk Cousins. Because at least Roman Reigns has some kind of competence. Now, if you made a Goldberg and Kirk Cousins, then I would have to think. The Vikings are at home, correct? But yay! Fuck you! Hashtag fuck you, Kirk Cousins. Minnesota, I'm going to say this. The only thing I like about you is besides you gave us Prince and you gave us Kurt Hennig. That's the nicest thing I'll say about you. I'm sure someone's going to be like, why does Doug hate Kirk Cousins in Minnesota this much? Moving on to quite possibly, and I hate to say this because it's Vibrator's team in this situation, one of the two worst games of the week on Sunday. It is the Lions, who haven't won a game yet, taking on the Bears, who don't have a quarterback problem. So let's start with Detroit. Personally, I think Detroit's been screwed by the football gods. You should have beat San Francisco, like I said earlier, but you got screwed in the end because of dropped pass and other shit. You got destroyed by Green Bay, fine. You should have beat Baltimore, but then the refs missed the delay a game. Chicago. You were, and I think I already said how I felt about Justin Fields. That the coach is right. They should have not played him yet. He wasn't ready. They should have let him be molded more. It's not like with the Patriots and everywhere else where they had no choice. And he's getting fired after this season. I guarantee it. He's getting fired. Because here's the thing as well, and this is what made this pick a little difficult for a lot of people. We do not know who the quarterback is for the Bears at the moment. They have not announced who it's going to be. And that's what makes this pick so difficult, because we don't know if it's Andy Dalton with the bum knee, if it's Nick Foles, if it's Justin Fields. So I'm going off. He might play better than Justin Fields with the way Fields has been playing. So I had to look at this from a point of view of like, okay, the Bears, excluding the one win they had against Cincinnati, which was a fluke, they have looked terrible in both of the other games. Even Cleveland said after the game they thought the Bears would play better offensively. How bad is that the team who just beat you said in an interview they thought the Bears offense would play better? So I can't believe I'm going to say this, but for the second time this year, my upset pick of the week is the Lions over Chicago. I don't feel confident with it, but I'm like, if the Lions were going to get a win at any point, this would be it. Oh my God, we both feel so. Mr. Jones is like, do I take Chicago or do I join these sickos over here on the boat? Oh my God. Well, this ship got weird. I was expecting to be the only one to pick Detroit. Shit. No, wait, this is a sick. Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Fair enough. And here's what the funny thing is. This is the second time we've all picked Detroit, too, to win. The last time we all did this was when it was against Green Bay. So that's what has me worried. So it's not only the second time we've done this, it's the second time we've done this when they're facing a divisional opponent. Yes, we did. They did. But moving on, so I'm sure someone's going to be like, what's Doug going to do when it's Detroit and Minnesota? Find out later this season. Moving on to what has the biggest point spread of this week, it is the Houston Texans against the Buffalo Bills. Now, before we make our picks and everything, we discuss this game and try to make it discussable. I think many people may know who I'm picking at this point. What do you think the point spread is? Dave says it's 20. Mr. Jones? Well, based on the Price is Right logic of being closer without going over, Mr. Jones is correct because the Bills are favored by 16 points. Now, Buff, I'm going to say this. Originally I was pissed the Bills lost to the Steelers, but I'm going to say this. Ever since that loss to the Steelers, it feels like the Steelers woke up a sleeping giant because, dear God, the Bills pretty much committed a hate crime against animals against the Dolphins, and then they committed a hate crime against people of Washington. But I was like, forget storming the wagons. Let's storm in the wagons with guns, arrows, and everything else to kill. Bills defensively has played lights out pretty much since that screw up in week 1. Offensively, Josh Allen has played well. Houston, I don't know who the quarterback's going to be. I believe it's still going to be the rookie who played this past week. Yeah. Because Houston refuses to play the original starting quarterback because of all the massage issues at the massage parlor. I like it, yeah. And this is my luck of the week, guys. I got the Buffalo Bills. After seeing how bad Houston played with a third-string quarterback, technically, I am deadly afraid for this offense. This could be the definition of an MDK, murder, death, kill. So please, Judge Dredd, show up to Buffalo if it gets too out of hand to just call the damn game. Yeah, the mascot's a horse, so yeah. Now, is Mr. Jones going to shock the world and pick Houston? Or is he like, yeah, I'm not betting against the Bills Mafia here? Damn. That could happen actually without the Texans, without the Bills. Moving on to another game that I had a hard time picking because of injuries abound. It is the Indianapolis Colts on the road, who have not won a game, by the way, yet, against the Dolphins, who are 1-2. Now, Miami's only favored by 2 points. Of course, they will be using the backup again because Tula's going to be out for at least this game and the next game. I'm not expecting Tula back till week 6 or 7. Now, the Colts, I got to say this, they look like they're injury prone as well. Both teams look injury departed. Carson Wentz, I got to give him credit. He's playing on 2 sprained ankles, but man, just sometimes you just got to realize you have to be intelligent. Now, he's still playing this week apparently, so I'll give him that. Miami kind of made it a game against the Raiders, but Miami does Miami things and blow it in overtime because, hey, they don't have Dan Marino. So I had to actually look inside myself and be like, who do I trust more? Who do I think has the better chance of actually winning this game? And I had to really look. And as much as I'm going to hate to say this, Carson Wentz of the Indianapolis Colts, do me a favor. Do not let me down. I am taking the Indianapolis Colts to beat the Miami Dolphins. I told you I was going to be getting crazy this week. I was losing my mind. This is one of them. I am taking the Colts on the road. I'm going to ask this question before we get to Mr. Jones. How hard was this game for you, Dave? Because this was probably the hardest one for me. But not without Tula. Yeah. Yeah, he can run okay. I have no earthly fucking clue. Wait. Breaking news. The backup quarterback for the Colts is Venkit. They're gonna pull Venkit from WWE, be like, hey, we need you here. Come here. Oh. Fair enough. Okay. So, Mr. Jones, that comes to you. You are a Colts fan, but I don't know if you have that much faith in them because of how they've been. So, are you taking your team, or are you going to be like, yeah, I'm jumping off this ship? Oh, wow. I'm kind of happy you picked the Colts. It doesn't make me feel stupid. All right, now we're at the last 1 o'clock game, and this is another game that Vegas actually doesn't know who has it as a close game. As a matter of fact, it's the lowest, one of the two lowest point spreads of the Sunday at 1.5%, 1.5 point spread. As Washington's on the road against Atlanta, Washington is favored to win. Now, I'm going to be honest here. I looked at this and I pretty much put it up there with the Colts and Dolphins. This was a hard pick because of everything surrounding the teams. Both teams have injuries at the Yahoo. You have Washington, who looks like, hey, we won the division last year. We're not going to do shit now. Atlanta hasn't looked right since the Super Bowl loss. But I think I'm going to make a few of my friends happy here who live in a certain state. Well, cheer for a certain team. I'm going to take Washington on the road here. I think they won't make the same mistakes the Giants did. I know everyone's going to be like, oh, but Doug, Washington got killed by Buffalo. Yeah, but that's Buffalo. This is Atlanta. Atlanta's defense can't do anything. Offensively, they've been shit, excluding against the Giants, apparently. So, give me Washington here. Wow, 2 for Washington. So none of us have a lot of faith in the Dirty Birds of the South, apparently, Stu. It's like, yeah, we don't trust your ass. So, Mr. Jones, that means the ball is in your court. I'm going to say this. If they lose this game, they should get the Redskin name back because they don't deserve to be called a football team. Actually, we have 2 4-5 games, actually. So the first one, it is Dave's 49ers at home against the Seahawks. Both teams needed to bounce back. Seattle's looked disappointing the last 2 games. Niners, they kind of left too much time for Aaron Rodgers, which is something you don't want to do against Russell Wilson. Now, surprisingly, the Niners are favored in this game, but they're only favored by 2.5 points. I'm going to be honest here. What worries me right now, Jimmy Garoppolo hasn't played well. The Niners defense kind of imploded last week with the last 35 seconds. And that worries me a bit because if they do that again, Russell Wilson should be able to capitalize here. And I think after how they were embarrassed by the Vikings this past week, I think Seattle's going to be wanting to come in. It's a divisional game, which, by the way, Seattle needs this game a lot because you have the Rams and Cardinals way ahead of you. Niners, if they win this, that puts the Seahawks in trouble at 1-3. So with all that being said, and I have to say this, it really came down to quarterbacks. I trust Russell Wilson a hell of a lot more than Jimmy Garoppolo. So give me the Seahawks on the road here. Oh, we knew you were picking the 49ers. That's why I didn't go to you yet. But we knew you were picking them anyway, so I know why you like me. Pick your team to win. So, Mr. Jones, that means you got the tiebreaker here. Do you go on the Gold Rush in San Francisco, or do you go to Starbucks in Seattle? Going with the Seahawks. Fair enough, fair enough. Alright, the other 4 or 5 game, it is the battle of undefeated, so after this game, one team will have their first loss, the other team will be 4-0, as it is the 3-0 Cardinals against the 3-0 Rams. Rams are pretty much. It is kind of funny in the sense. Now, both teams are playing red hot, but here's the thing though, and this is what made my pick. Rams, I've been saying it pretty much since week 1. They have a great defense, so depending on how Matthew Stafford played, they could be really okay or great. And he's been playing lights out, so I think we can all say the problems are not him in Detroit. What worries me with the Cardinals, you almost blew it against Jacksonville. You should never blow it against Jacksonville. That's like losing to Atlanta. Wait a minute. Oh, God, you just reminded me the Jets and Jacksonville Jaguars do play against each other. that's a definition of a train wreck. I'm going to be watching that game too, though. Go ahead, because I know who you mean, yeah. Oh, wait. Oh, God. Oh, God, I hate to interrupt you. We'll get back to you. Guess what just broke for the Jacksonville Jaguars? They will not have their field goal kicker for tomorrow night. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Going because I gotta hear this. Three. Oh. Oh. Ooh. Oh. Then, oh God, I remember that. Oh, now before we get back to the Rams and where were we? Rams and Cardinals, because I don't think we made a pick yet. A question of the video: which game sounds more of a train wreck later this season? The Falcons at Jaguars, November 28th, or December 26th, Jaguars at Jets? I know this much. I will watch both games with popcorn. I'm sure Mr. Jones will be doing the same, because those are going to be train wreck games. Oh yeah, and I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this with. I think we can all agree on this as well. To take something from urinating tree. I think both those games will be the definition of a tank bowl. Who purposely wants to lose this game to get a better draft pick? You would think that, now that we've had fun pretty much destroying an entire city, which is fucking hilarious. Where were we? Rams and Cardinals, that's right, because my mind's just wanting to die of laughter now because of that. I got the Rams, better defense, better quarterback. Two. Yep, are you joining the Cardinals or are you joining us in LA? Yes. No. No, I know what the funny thing is? Before you make your pick, Mr. Jones, what did I tell you when we were streaming the one game last night, that when we were getting ready to do our picks? I said Dave would say this game, can he hope it ends in a tie? But you can't say it can't end in a tie. You have to make a pick. Ooh, you're going with the lock, and kind of an upset as well, since Arizona's not favored, but I wish you luck with your lock. Moving on to the 425 games. The first one. This was my easiest pick of the week. It's that says something when I have the Lions as an upset. It is the 1-2 Steelers against the 2-1 Packers. Packers are favored by 6.5 points. I'm going to say this. Pittsburgh, you should feel ashamed. Because even though I had Cincinnati winning last week, no one was expecting you to look that bad of an egg. Yeah, you scored points, but you looked terrible. Big Ben, do us a favor. Hang it up. You are acting like the Undertaker versus Bill Goldberg match from Crown Jewel. It's embarrassing. Just give it up. And here's the thing, though. Steeler fans won't admit that he should hang it up. The organization's going to be like, oh no, Big Ben is fine. We're doing fine. We're 1-2. It's early in the season. You look like shit. You should be 0-3 if the Bills didn't decide to take a nap. I think if you can't tell who I'm picking by now, I'm going to lay it out for you. Give me the Packers in Green Bay. As much as I know Vibrate is going to say fuck Aaron Rodgers and fuck the Packers, I'm sorry, fuck Big Ben because he can't do shit. Juju Smith. Damn, you were worse than I was. So, Mr. Jones, what about you? You're going to continue this burial of Pittsburgh? He's like, I think it sounds like you stole all the things I wanted to say, guys. Yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up. No one, we have lost Big Ben. We do not trust. Now, moving on to the last 425 game, and this is the one I want to discuss a little bit more in detail a bit because it affects my mom's Ravens. It is the Ravens on the road against Denver. Now, Denver's 3-0, which is an accomplishment to say the least, but look at who Denver's played. They played the Jets, which the Jets are an embarrassment to the state of New York. They beat the Giants, who are an embarrassment to the state of God. And I don't want to hear anyone argue with me with that. They lost to Atlanta. God does not love the Giants no more. And you beat the Jaguars, who, I'm sorry, I think everybody in TCW could beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. Everybody in AEW could beat the. Everybody in AEW could beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. My YouTube subscribers could beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. So no really accomplishments there, but I still say 3-0 is. You play to win the game. I have to admit that. Now, here's the thing though with Baltimore. You could very easily say they should be 0-3 right now because they barely beat the Chiefs if it wasn't for the Chiefs fumbling, and they only beat the Lions because of a call that was missed. Now, last week I had the Ravens, but this one I'm honest. I had to. She's not in here, which I'm glad she's not because I think she would kill me when I'm about to say this. As Denver is favored by 1.5 points. Now I should point out because I think I may have forgot to mention this. The Rams are favored by 4.5, and Niners are favored by 2.5, and the Packers are favored 6.5. Just to get them out of the way in case I missed them. We know I'm high on Teddy Bridgewater. I was high on him last year. We know I like him as a quarterback. I wish he was on Dallas as a backup because I think it would be very well secured in case that got hurt again. But Teddy Bridgewater's found his right team. The defense for Denver's been playing great. So, give me the Broncos at home to get the 4th win of the year and beat Baltimore. That's 2 for the Broncos. So, Mr. Jones, are you joining us in the Mile High City? Or are you going to be going, quote the Raven, nevermore, nevermore? Yeah. I think because they're saying because of how Baltimore's won these last 2 games, they're expecting Denver may screw up, I guess. But look who they played, though. We've all picked the Broncos 3 times. Now 4 in me and Dave's case. It's Lamar Jackson, so it's Jackson versus Bridgewater. So it's the new prettier version versus the old version. No, fuck off with that tie shit. Ooh, interesting. So he's going with Baltimore there. All right. So 2-1 there. Now the next one. Oh, I've been waiting for this one since Monday evening because of who it is. Because Mr. Jones hates both of them equally. This is gonna make my night. It is the 2-1 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I can't even say because Mr. Jones is already making me laugh. It is the 2-1 Buccaneers taking on the 1-2 Patriots. It's a return. It's the prodigal son return as Brady and Gronk return back to where it all began in New England. Tampa's favored by 7 points here. I'm going to say this. This will probably be one of the higher viewed Sunday night games because everybody wants to see what the Patriots would do. The Patriots fans would do. Will they chill Brady because he did bring them some Super Bowls? Or are they going to boo the fuck out of him because he's like LeBron James when he left? Here's the thing, though. I think this point spread should be a little bit closer because the depth. Buccaneers do not have a great depth. Yeah, they have all their pretty much everybody their starters from the Super Bowl, but if you notice their depth chart went after the starters from last year, they're not good at that. Now, Patriots have a lot of injuries going into this game, unfortunately. So does Tampa, but here's the problem. Tampa has Brady. Tampa has Gronk. Antonio Brown should be back to playing this week if he's healthy. They got Godwin. And now, by the way, if he's able to get ready in time, the Buccaneers have Sherman. So, because God does not want us to have nice things, that's why. Patriots, I will say this. You're having some growing pains because you do have a rookie quarterback. Ironically enough, he's the only rookie QB to have a win. Unfortunately, the problem is he beat the Jets to do that, so not an accomplishment there. I'll give him a cookie because, well, his defense helped him out a lot, so I'll give him a cookie for trying. I'm going to take the Bucks on the road here only because I do not trust the young Patriots offense to stay in this because all Buccaneers have to do is get like 30 points and it's over. Okay, now the moment we've all been waiting for, Mr. Jones. Which, do you side with the Dark Empire of New England or do you side with the Pirates of the Caribbean? Well, Rob Krasowski does like Nestle Crunch. Does that mean if you're taking the Buccaneers? Because we want to fuck with you, that is why. So you go. Yeah, pretty much. I think this pretty much describes how Mr. Jones feels about having to make a pick in this game. Yeah. Well, we got one game left, so I think it's safe to say we need to. It's time for the best moment of the day.
Never mind that shit. Here comes Mungo.
It's time for the Raiders and Chargers. I probably should use the Mongo clip for the Bears, but oh well. The Bears don't deserve Mongo. It is the Raiders and Chargers. Chargers are the home team. Let me pull up the point spread real quick. Raiders are undefeated, which granted they should not be because they should have lost to the Dolphins, but Chargers are favored by 3 points right now. Chargers coming off a big win against the Chiefs. Chargers are a young team, but they're playing well. The only loss is against my Cowboys. Raiders, Derek Carr's, Mr. Carr's playing like he did back in 2016. The defense has finally improved for Oakland. What bothers me, though, with the Raiders, they have so underplayed to the opponents. It's not, they haven't really dominated. It's like they've had to come back against, and this is what I mean for anybody who's asking why I have a little trouble believing in the Raiders. Yes, Denver's 3-0, they beat bad teams. Raiders, you could say, okay, they beat good teams, but let's take a closer look at what happened in those games, shall we? Raiders beat the Ravens, but it was in overtime. Raiders beat the Steelers, but the Steelers fucking suck. And then this past week, you barely got by the Dolphins in overtime and almost ended in a tie if the Dolphins would have been able to make the 3-point kick in overtime. Chargers have looked impressive to me, and they did play well against Kansas City. So with that being said, to quote Arnold Schwarzenegger here, go Chargers, go. I got the Chargers winning on Monday night. So, go Chargers, okay. And there's all three, alright. Nice. And so those are picks for this week. But of course, as you know here, we do talk about a little bit of college games for this week because there's a lot of important college games you need to know about this weekend for you college football fans out there. So let me just put... Dun, dun. Hashtag fuck Alabama. So, if you do not want to watch the Jacksonville Jaguars at Cincinnati Bengals, you can watch a pretty good interesting matchup on ESPN Thursday night, as it is the 2-2 Virginia Cavaliers taking on the 2-2 Miami I almost said Miami Dolphins, shit. 2-2, that would have been funny, yeah. 2-2 Miami Hurricanes. Your Friday night games, which is why Friday night I will be on very late because one of them affects my mom's team, so the family will be watching that again. But your other games on Friday, if you don't want to watch the WWE draft, which I wouldn't blame you because it's a WWE draft, which is so boring because they don't do what Roger Goodell does and just acts like a jackass. They just say, with the next pick, blah 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 is going to blah blah blah. He'll still probably be feuding with blah blah blah. But you can watch these games on Friday night. You can watch 3-1 Houston at 1-3 Tulsa on ESPN at 7:30. By the way, that Virginia-Miami game's at 7:30 as well on tomorrow. On FS1, you can watch number 5 Iowa, who's 4-0, taking on the undefeated Maryland Terrapins, who are 4-0 as well. And then on 9 o'clock, if you have the CBS Sports Network, you can watch number 12 BYU, not number 12, number 13 BYU, who's undefeated at 4-0, taking on Utah State, who is 3-1. Now, of course, as for your games Saturday, you have number 7 Cincinnati at number 9 Notre Dame, which is on NBC. Another big game, which is at 12 o'clock on ES. By the way, the Notre Dame game's at 2:30. My mistake. At 12 o'clock, you can watch number 8 Arkansas taking on number 2 Georgia on ESPN. Number 14th ranked Michigan takes on Wisconsin on Fox. Michigan is undefeated at the moment. Let's see if I can find who Ohio State's playing, because that is that's Mr. Jones's team. UL Moreau takes on undefeated Coastal Carolina, is ranked 16th. Ole Miss takes on Alabama at 3:30 on CBS, a battle of undefeateds. Undefeated Oregon takes on Stanford at 3:30 on ABC. Oklahoma takes on Kansas State on Fox at 3:30. Oklahoma's undefeated and ranked 6th. On the Big Ten Network at 3:30 would be number 11 Ohio State taking on Rutgers. Both teams have the same record, 3-1. And for your Saturday night games, brought to you by Little Caesars, probably. On ESPN2, you have number 21 Baylor taking on 19 Oklahoma State. Both teams are undefeated. You also have on ABC Saturday night Indiana, who's 2-2, taking on number 4 best team in the country, Penn State, at 7:30. Michigan State takes on Western Kentucky on FS1 at 7:30. Clemson, who's barely ranked in the top 25, at 25 takes on undefeated Boston College on the ACC network. At 9 o'clock, you can watch Auburn take on LSU on ESPN. UCLA takes on Arizona State at 10:30 on FS1. And the last game of Saturday night will be Fresno State taking on Hawaii at 11 o'clock on the CBS Sports Network. Now, so until next time when we see you, if you're just here for the picks, we will see you next week on Wednesday. Now, of course, give me a few minutes, guys, because I do have to go check on a few things and all that. So I think to end this video tonight, I've been saving this clip for a special occasion. It's old school, so hopefully it doesn't hit me with a copyright strike, but
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
see you in a few minutes for when I take on the Panthers.